for we're live, by the way. It's on the waiting room.
So let her rip, baby.
Give me just a minute. I'm trying to get over to the 1E doc. That should be all we need today, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Oh.
Hi, everybody.
No, we're not on yet. It's on the waiting room. I don't think they can hear us.
They can.
They can?
Yeah, I mean, I could hear us.
Fuck. Okay.
Hi.
Hey, everybody.
So what about a tabletop game where everyone plays Batman, but you have to go to therapy?
I like this.
It'd be good for him.
Oh, I've got a pun here, I'm sure.
I don't think that's a joke. I just think it'd be really good for Batman to go to therapy.
Therapy is never a joke.
He definitely needs it. Like, beyond like the severe childhood trauma, like he's fucked himself up quite a bit too.
You know, even beyond just what he's done to himself, if for nothing else, you should support Batman going to therapy for like the sake of the children that seem to walk in and out of his life.
Sure, yeah.
Because I don't
Dick
know,
Grayson
man.
could still be here.
Right? Like Dick Grayson would still be here. Fucking like,
Jason Todd wouldn't be a murdering vigilante.
Yeah. He's just like, oh, you're like a little orphan boy with like no parents or support system? Let me teach you how to fight crime.
How do we do that? Do we call the police? Do we call someone who could reasonably take care of them?
No,
No, we're gonna beat the fuck out of them.
Bruce Wayne absolutely has like one of those shitty like alpha dog like signs on his front step that's like, we don't call the cops here. But instead of like a gun, it's got a batarang.
That's honestly why I'm so excited for the Batman. Like, I think I told you this, I was in the theaters when I saw the first preview for it.
Yeah.
Like, now that they're doing it, like, actually going to release it. And he's facing off against these dudes, and one of the guys is like, who are you? And this kid behind me goes, man, like whispers it to himself, and Batman goes, I'm vengeance, and starts beating the fuck out of the guy. And I was like, holy shit, this is awesome. Way to eschew expectation. This Batman kind of sucks. He's a dickhead. This is awesome.
That's the most realistic interpretation of Batman that there is. Like, straight up. If your interpretation of Batman is anything less than, oh, this dude's a pile of shit, then like you need to seriously rethink your whole life image.
He thinks he's doing the right thing. Well, I know that.
Yeah, so does fucking everyone. That means nothing. That means fucking nothing. That is zero. That is a negatory. Like,
except for the Punisher, who knows he's doing the wrong thing because he's a bad person.
Like, yeah, no, I'm bad. That's...
Don't follow me. I'm an actual. I like when the Punisher recognized the fact that he used his family's death as an excuse and would have been a serial killer anyways.
I mean, fair. Like,
honest.
at least
And then people, it's like I ever seen like awesome Punisher logos. I'm like, Punisher hated the police.
Punisher fucking hated the police. Like, I know that the writers for the Punisher wrote these things in response to like police officers like wearing the Punisher logo, but the fact that like they had to, like, just kind of tells you how like incorrectly people have read that character. Like, it's not just about brutalizing people, like, or like it is for him.
Yeah,
but
it is
that's,
for him. Yeah,
but that's
for Frank Castle, it is.
But that's the opposite of what you
the
should be
story's
taking.
about.
That's the opposite of what you should be taking from it. It's like, oh, this guy is not good.
Yeah,
Perhaps.
It's sort of in the name.
Anyways,
hey everybody.
Yeah,
I'm
welcome
very
to the
sick.
Welcome to the Terramundi stream. We are so out of it. Season of the playtest has hit a little bit of a rough patch. Corey, you want to go into that?
I got COVID.
Yeah, so
I've spent the last couple days sort of moving through my house like a whisper. Today I was too tired to draw. I'm good. Like, I'm good. I'm mostly just exhausted.
No, let me tell you something. You're not good, and you know how I know you're not good? You canceled both your private D&D games this week.
Yeah.
That is like, that for me, as long as I've known you, as sick as I have seen you be, I have never in my life seen you like cancel games due to illness. We've played through like being like nauseous and vomiting, and like the fact that you've canceled both games, I'm like, shit, this is not good. This is very bad.
I'm so tired, dude. Like,
Yeah.
Today I was just laying in bed, like, I couldn't even, like, I couldn't do shit. Nothing. Like, oh man, I don't know. It's a fucking disaster. I'm sorry, everyone.
Yeah. So for those of you who just hopped on, unfortunately, we broke the news that Corey got COVID this weekend.
Yay!
Yay!
Hi, Baba Kiss! How are you?
Ugh. I was not yang the COVIDs.
Fair. So let's get into the business of why we're here.
Yeah, so Corey prepped me by saying that whatever we do this session, we gotta just slam into it and get it done as quick as possible. Because for obvious reasons, we're probably not going to be able to do this for super long.
I'm just hoping momentum can carry us through.
Yeah.
Boy, I'm getting very warm right now. Is anyone else?
Oh boy.
Okay.
Let it speak to your dedication that you're doing this while sick with COVID. So today we are going through health and dying today. It's very relevant. We like to be topical. No, so our next playtest is going to be
things. Oh yeah, go on.
Oh yeah, so our next playtest is going to be combat. Our hope is to do this next week with a playtest, but obviously we need to nail down how we're actually doing this, and we need to nail down some like weapon feats to test out for the sake of the playtest itself. And that is the base of what we're doing today. Corey, did we need to recap anything before we go into this week's stuff?
No, I mean, we got rid of a few things off stream.
Oh, right.
We got rid of our magic using class completely, and we're just making everything kind of magical.
Yep.
We got rid of the magic using skill because it seemed unnecessary to have a magic using skill and an approach, because this way you could approach things just with a magical nature. And we got rid of a couple. What do we get? Oh, we got rid of logic as an approach.
Yep.
You cannot be logical in this game.
You can adapt and you can do clockwork, but we decided we are streaming this a little bit here. Looking forward to seeing you roll a dice. Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So Corey, here is all of what we have for combat, right?
Let's just read over it and see if it makes sense.
Yeah. So first things first, we have you're rolling a skill die plus your rank in a specific skill, or plus your rank. I'm guessing that would really be skill die plus approach now.
Yeah. Plus your rank and approach. You just put approach, yeah.
Or yeah, approach rank.
We should. Who?
What?
Nothing.
Okay. So physical hit is ferocity plus brutality. I actually don't think that's...
I don't think that functions anymore because I think any approach you take could be the. I wonder if we should have like. Oh, man, I don't want to pop too much from L5R. Should there be like a declaration or I don't know? Let's not get into the weeds.
Yeah,
yet.
let's do the overview first. So if the value is greater than the target's movement, it's a hit.
It's a hit.
I think that's on par with what we've been saying over the last couple weeks. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. If it's less than the armor nodes, then they would roll a clockwork and hardiness to resist armor.
Yeah, that makes sense. If it's less, less than armor, they're taking armor damage. If it's over armor, they're taking.
I get that. My question is in the roll itself. Should it be clockwork approach always, or do they get to decide how they're trying to resist?
So, I would. Man, yeah, that's a toughie. Let's just take it out and yeah.
Okay, roll hardiness plus approach. I'm just gonna put that in for now. And if it's greater than the target's armor nodes, they roll. It would be adaptation, or no, it'd be composure and plus approach.
And we can look at those again too, just to make sure we're not. Yeah. Same idea though.
Okay.
And from this, damage is based on whatever the item feat that you're using is, right? Like,
right. That's what we had here. That's what we're going with for now.
Yeah.
So do we have a damage die? This is the same question as before. We can get rid of that. So Corey, one thing done. We went over everything we have for combat. Aren't you excited?
Did we not talk about initiative?
You know, I know we talked about it somewhere, but it wasn't in the, I couldn't find it anywhere. So I
thought we wrote down, I think it's in a weird spot.
Hang on one sec. I'm just going to search initiative real quick.
Or you want to search like escape. What were the three names for?
It was like escape, offensive.
And defensive, yeah. So let me just talk about that while Taylor looks for it. We have the initiative idea. So I don't think there is a D&D analog to an approach. It's sort of an idea we picked up from L5R and how we used to play Shadowrun, which is we would use attributes modular. Like you could do like a charisma knives roll because you were doing something charismatic with knives.
Well, yeah. So it was because you were threatening somebody with a knife.
Yeah.
So you weren't actually attacking them; you're threatening them with it. Another way to think of it is like my standard go-to is like you're in front of a locked door, you need to get to the other side. Like a clockwork approach would be like taking it off its hinges and like deconstructing the door to get around. An adaptation approach would be like looking around for like a window or like somebody with a key. A brute or a ferocity approach would be just like leveling your shoulder into it. But these would just be like basically different ways to achieve kind of the same thing.
Yeah. And that's why I think. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's more the color of how you use the skill. One thing
Found
we
it.
were talking about doing is, and this is something we're both pretty excited about, because Vault Peddlers is a game that's like based a lot on the idea of not initiative, rather like heist games are a big idea going into this, and how it's all about planning. We wanted to do something different with initiative that would push forward that sort of play style. So the idea we settled on was a simultaneous initiative, and not simultaneous in the way that like PBTA games do, like sharing the spotlight while you're in combat, and it's just sort of loosey-goosey. This is more whatever side is opposing you can have a turn, and you have a turn, and those are separate, but everything all happens at once during that turn. So the idea is that like you would formulate a plan with everyone, and that would go off according to what you wanted to do. But if the enemy goes before you and puts a complication in front of you, and you have a reaction feat, you can use that, but then you're not going to be able to pull off the plan as intended, and it will like de-level the thing that you had established with the group. So we're hoping that brings a level of variance to play and is still quick and snappy.
Yeah.
We'll have to see, because I've never played in a system with that sort of initiative tracker.
I've also never played Magic the Gathering Elst Dragoon, so I'm not sure if that is how that works. I don't know. Corey, have you played Magic?
Yeah, I used to play Magic. Now combat. So
I had friends who were like obsessed with Magic, and like I can't fucking I'm so bad at it.
I played a lot when I was younger, and then the game evolved past me. Like I stopped playing, the game evolved past me, and now I'm like a child.
Yeah, I'm like old man scratching his head. I don't know what these kids are doing.
But no, I mean it's the same idea. Like there are phases, and you can like go through, and then you could have basically saved potential to utilize if something goes off. And that's what this is. That's why we have like the action point system. So like you could just pull back and like save your action points for a reaction just in case, and not fuck up a plan. But that's the idea. Yeah.
So Corey, I found the text you were referring to.
Oh yeah.
It's actually a basic overview that includes stuff on initiative, but it lists out kind of the phases of combat. So actually, I'm gonna move this from here. 1 sec. I'm gonna just move it up into the bigger section above, and then we can kind of fill out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh boy.
Okay, so what we have here is basically a numbered list, right? What we're going to do is go into... What are you doing? I want...
What?
Okay, that's strange. Cool.
Oh.
There
me
we go.
this time.
Look, every once in a while, Microsoft Word just likes to fuck around. It's a beast that must be wrestled to the ground. Okay, so first stage is kind of what we were talking about before. It's the intent phase. This is effectively taking the place of initiative. The party declares their intent or goal for the encounter, from which they use a derived statistic to determine armor, HP, and movement. Okay, so
at the beginning of any encounter, you decide how you're entering the... So that's cool. So that's one thing I kind of like... So there's no way to shift your intent hardlined in unless there's a feat that lets you shift intent.
No, incorrect actually. Look at point E. Switching stances can be done at the start of a new turn at the cost of half your action nodes for the following turn, after which they return to their full amount.
All right.
So basically the idea is like you're in the middle of combat, like with an offensive intent, and things are getting really hairy. This creature is way stronger than you anticipated. You say, fuck it, we gotta run. You switch your intent to escape. During that turn, it's half. Does that make sense?
Yeah. If switching the intent brings a player's health to 0 or below, I don't even know if we need that. Because if it switches your health to 0 or below, like I don't know. Do instead. We haven't discussed an incapacitated. We should probably we'll get to that today.
I was gonna say that's I think the last part of today's stream is we need to talk about health and dying.
Yeah.
But yeah, for now we do need to continue putting a pin in it because it's a good question. And actually, I'm going to take this.
The idea is that like health represents your vigor too. So like if you're like running into combat, like ready to attack like a barbarian, you're like more vibrant, you have more health to you. If you're like crouched down behind the barricades, you have less movement, you're more defensible, more armor. And so that's it's like the again with approaches, it's your approach to how you're going into combat. And that's also why you lose half your action points when you need to switch gears, because it's everybody like trying to switch gears, mechanically representing like trying to find sure footing again.
Yeah. All right. So after that, we have the declaration phase, which players and archivists state their.
What is happening?
I'm reading down the list.
Oh, I can't hear you. That's what's happening.
You can't hear me? I can hear you just fine. Hello?
It was my headphones.
Okay, cool.
Sorry.
About to say, don't leave me. I'm hopeless without you.
I thought I was having a fever dream for a minute.
Okay, so next is the declaration phase. Players and archivists state their intentions with the discretion, or with archivist discretion. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, I feel like that's not really needed.
It's just saying what we're going to do.
Well, maybe instead of stating intentions, that seems too similar to intent. That might just be a language thing. Maybe state players and archivists describe their actions. Yeah, okay.
So this is still moving between turns of one faction versus another faction, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Players and archivists. So here is my question on this. When we describe declaration and roll phase, it seems weird to me that
split them up.
Well, yeah, because the whole idea is that you state your intentions and then everybody rolls all at the same time.
Right. I think why we did this was just for us. I think we broke it down more meticulously than we had to, just to see how we were like. I think we were putting everything down on paper. We wanted to like not. Yeah.
Okay. Roll phase. Obviously, you roll. Compare against DTV.
I'm gonna put a note here, Taylor. All factions in a combat turn use this order. Meaning the Archivist faction would also be doing this shit. Yeah,
that's good. So Elstragoon, we really wanted there to be advantages and disadvantages to each intent. The whole idea is basically like an offensive intent, just giving you like that extra little boost of vigor. I don't disagree. It's a weird thing, but I don't know.
It's imperfect, but like.
Well, and like the thing is, if we're being real about it, like a health meter is not a realistic thing, right?
No, but we have wound points essentially, right? Like that's what they are.
Yeah. So I don't know.
I mean, that being said, like, I think it's fine, and like justifying through the lore, I think is good too, because we have like money that fucking invigorates your weapons with power.
Yeah.
But I agree that it's something that we're gonna see how it plays out and looks. But for now, I think it's a good way to go.
Yeah. I think it at least mechanically feels interesting, even if it's not narratively the most sensible thing. Okay, and then resolution phase. Dice rolls are interpreted by the player. Final discretion of the GM. Again, I feel like that's not really... Oh, actually, no, that is important there.
What?
So dice rolls are interpreted by the player.
Yeah,
Meaning...
you were super into player facing thing. I don't think that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know that actually does. I'm gonna say interpreted by Archivist.
So, and this is something like a larger table talk discussion, right? Should we have a like a spiral, like a death spiral? A lot of people don't like death spirals. I kind of like death spirals.
I'm gonna take like a black and white. I'm gonna take a black and white portrait of your face and just like a quote in like pretty white script. I like death spirals.
Like death spirals.
Corey Davis.
I'm no coward. I enjoy it.
Embrace the death spiral, coward.
To me, it makes sense that like the more you push through a hardship, the but maybe there's a way we can temporarily reinvigorate that. I don't know. Maybe that's when we get into like weird item interactions and stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So,
thank you.
Let's I feel like these 4 steps are fine on their own.
Yeah.
We did leave some concerns, and I think we should address those.
Like what how do we decide who goes first between the Archivist faction and your faction?
Yeah, I mean, that like the declaration phase especially is a pretty big deal, just because if I am trying to plan strategically and I hear that the other side is doing something, then naturally I'm going to try and tailor whatever my actions are to meet those actions.
I have a solution.
Okay.
So whoever, well, yeah, I mean, you're always, I don't think the Archivist is going to tell you what they're going to do. It's just like, here's how this works. Our side, if our side's going first, we're describing what we're doing, and then we roll the dice. If the enemy has a reaction feat, they'll throw that out when we do it. Like, what's it called when you move past somebody in D&D? Attack of opportunity, right?
Right.
Like, I don't know that they have an attack of opportunity, but I activate that as I walk by them past 5 feet. And the same thing will go on with us versus the Archivist. Like, if the enemy comes at me and does some shit, and I have, like, an electric needle that pops out of me when I get hit with a fire attack, then that will activate if I choose to activate that feat, because I have the reaction. I still have the action points for it, as long as I didn't spend them and I went first. As for who goes first between the Archivist faction and our faction, I'm just saying ours now. We're the Vault Peddlers. Easy. You take the highest movement nodes of either faction facing off against each other and compare them. Whoever's got the highest movement nodes goes first.
Okay. Now, here's the thing. So I do need to clarify. Are you implying that the highest movement nodes would both declare and then roll? After which point the party with the lower movement nodes would go second?
So this is how I see it. The intent phase happens at the beginning of combat, right? we would then compare the movement nodes of the two parties in relate like the factions against each other, and that's the order that the factions go, right? So if we're going first, then we would do our declaration phase. We make our plan and we go off against the baddies. And then we do our rolling phase, roll for all the actions we just described, and a resolution phase, the archivist describes what happens. Okay. At that point, the enemy starts their declaration phase, their roll phase, their resolution phase, right?
So here's what I'm going to say. Describes their actions and makes their rolls. Goes first. After their rolls are completed, the lower movement nodes goes second. So,
and then just one more thing.
Yeah.
At the beginning of your next turn, your action points return. It has to be at the beginning of your next turn. That way you don't get your action points back to use like reactions in the middle of an enemy's turn, because you already spent your actions, right? You can save those.
Wait, aren't you supposed to use reaction feats in the middle of somebody else's turn? Isn't that the point?
You can, but you have to have the action points to justify it, right?
Right.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Your action points return to you at the start of your next turn.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, here's my issue, Corey, is that, like, let's say I am a Vault Peddler crew or an archivist, either one, right?
Yeah.
The other side rolled a higher movement node and they went before me. And so now I know, on this system, I know not only what they're trying to do, I also know how successful they're going to be. And then the archivist is going to look at me and say, okay, what do you want to do? And I know not only what they're trying to do, I know what they have already done.
Yeah, because they did it.
Right. But see, this is not... The whole idea of this combat was it's like pie show, right? It's like both of you throw like rock, paper, scissors in the middle, and whoever comes out in that interaction wins. But if somebody else throws scissors, I automatically know I'm going to use rock no matter what. Does that make sense?
No, because like combat still has to happen in turns at some point. Like there's no way to break it down further than that, is what I'm saying. Like there's going to be that level of disconnect. It can't all happen at once, right? Like
that here's the deal. I don't disagree that that's a lofty goal. I do want to point out that was the initial idea of Vault Peddler's
I think
combat.
that this gets us pretty close to that. Yeah. Like it is just a faction like moving all at once, and it's gonna be. I think the idea is that this will keep things snappy and keep things moving, and will make things feel like the enemy just did a bunch of shit. Now we're responding. Yeah. It makes it squad based. It makes it tactical. Like it gives it that heist conversational piece, and like it still feels simultaneous, right? Like we're all doing a bunch of shit.
And also, what it does do is, if I am the guy who goes first, then yes, the other people do get to react directly to what I've done, but in turn, I get to react to what they've done.
Yeah, like,
right? And that's just how the combat goes, just in general. Okay, yeah, I don't hate that. I don't know. I would have loved to have found some way to like literally have everybody throwing dice and finding ways to compare them. I just like the excitement of that, and as far as like snappiness goes, I really like that as well. But I don't disagree that that's probably a little more difficult than.
So Elsdragon. Just to answer that, only if you have like reaction feats. So it's more of a special rules system as far as like if you have the ability to even use those things. If you have them, it's sort of like a tax of opportunity in Pathfinder, in that you have to have the attack of opportunity feat in order to use it. So yeah, it could be gamified, but only if you have a specific feat.
And to answer your second question, so you do get to roll to resist using armor. In addition, we also have some feats, I believe, with the Shepherd, where you actually can like hold a line and like and draw. But those are specialized feats based on provinces.
Which is where we get into like feats in this game are just special rules that overcome the regular rules of the game. So it'll depend on what your team looks like.
Okay, so it looks then like this first concern that we had about like level of trust, I feel like that's resolved.
Yeah.
Cool. And it looks like also our reaction feat system kind of solves that as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're good there. And each turn could easily turn into a debate since final word isn't really distinguished.
We solved that by saying that it was no longer player facing.
No longer player facing. That's right. Okay, cool. Then we've got the basic outline of how combat works. Now let's talk a little bit about initiative.
Oh, I thought we were going to talk about death.
Now let's talk about death. We'll tell you what, we are actually... I know you said you wanted to keep this to a tight...
No, let's go. We're good. We're good.
Are you sure?
Yeah. I'm into it.
All right, cool.
This is the most vigorous I've felt.
Good, I'm glad. Okay, so combat starts declaring intense goals for the encounter from which they use derived statistic to determine their armor, HP, and movement. It's not a derived statistic, to be clear, right? They're not pulling anything off. So, so hang on one sec. So, what it is, from which they gain a temporary bonus, or no, alteration, because some of it's not. Yeah.
But I mean, yeah. You're right.
Okay. Different intents with I don't have a problem with any of these intents. I don't know.
No, but I do want to state that like one of the cool things that I'm really excited for in Vault Peddlers, these are the base intents that everyone has access to. Yeah. And one thing we really want to play forward is the idea of customization in this game. So the idea that you will, through the opening of different feats with different players in your party, open up new initiative stances is very exciting to me. Like, because we have a Pharaoh and a Shepherd with these feats, we open up this tactical approach, and it does specialized things for us.
Right, like a subdue intent would be like killer. Yeah.
So like that's going to open up like the coloration of your caravan is going, it's like the jobs that we have, the resources that we have, and the people we have on the advanced team color exactly how we do jobs. And that's what I want to sell with this game. And that's what I'm really excited for. Yeah. So there's going to be a lot of that too.
All right. Cool. Let's talk about death.
Well, let's look at damage resolution. Did we already do that? We already did that.
Yeah, we did do that. I'm actually going to take these things off.
Yeah.
I think we've pretty well established that this is what we're going with.
Yep. So health and dying. Man, I would like a resistance and like pop up kind of thing. I don't think like popping right to 0 should kill you.
What do you mean?
Well, I don't think just dropping to 0 should. I think like 0 incapacitated or like immobile kind of thing, and you have to roll to get back in the game. If you can get back in the game, some sort of death save, something.
Okay. So
moment.
Yeah, I don't hate the idea. Like I use this, I feel like every session now, but like L5R does have a mechanic very much like this, when like if you run out of your endurance or whatever, your fatigue exceeds your endurance, then you're not dead. You're just like incapacitated, and that makes
Sure.
you incredibly prone to, like, you can't move, you can't like use any moves or anything like that. And somebody, if they want, can just come along and like stick a knife in you.
Yeah, Cyberpunk has this too. You hit 0, you can still move around and do stuff in Cyberpunk. You're just rolling with extreme disadvantage, and then on your turn, you have to roll below your body every time, and then it reduces by 1 each time that you succeed, so it gets harder and harder to do.
Oh my god,
and
that's
every
terrifying.
time you get hit, Taylor, no matter what, you get a critical injury. You have to roll on the critical injury table.
Yeah, so I'm cool with that.
Well, what is our system is the idea, right?
Okay, so as players take damage.
Well, let's stop for a second and think of like our game, right?
Yeah.
How EBA works. EBA is inherently magical and inherently technological. Everyone is some form of miasma culture and body components. It is a game where physical things actually give you, like, imbue things with magical property through their inherent value. It is a game of community. You have to be with people in order to get by. So maybe there's something about like adjacent hexes and a player there. Gotta have teammate in an adjacent hex in order to, I don't know.
Well,
or maybe that juices you.
Okay, but what we're talking about right now is just health and dying. Like,
right.
So why would somebody being close to me in an adjacent hex, why would that
this is what I'm thinking.
Juice
like,
me in what way?
Maybe you can up a party member by I do like the idea that you can like up somebody.
Okay, well, upping somebody is a shepherd feat. I mean, that's like
true. Yeah, it's a Lazarus tap thing.
Yeah, that's a Croaker thing. That's a shepherd thing. I feel like before we talk about upping people and like all that, like we need to have a solid mechanic for dying.
Yeah.
That if we're doing a combat playtest, what we can hopefully assume from next week's stream is that someone's gonna die, and we need to know how that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Well, let's take a look at. Let me take a look at. Oh shit. So we don't want to like overweight any of the approaches.
Right. So as players take damage, they lose.
He takes a joint.
Corresponding amount of health nodes. Corresponding amount of health nodes. When those health nodes fall to zero, the player is. I don't want to use incapacitated or I forget the terminology L5R uses.
Rendered inert. That's some fucking Rustpunk bullshit right there.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
Yeah.
Okay, so rendered inert.
Ooh. We're talking about how like Nebula infuses everything, Star Shatter infuses everything, and like machines are given life by them, like creatronics, right?
Yep.
So I like the idea of like it's not dying. Like we don't think about dying. It's ceasing your usefulness or something. Rendered inert. You become spent. You are like a pouch without any petty coin right now.
Take any movement or make any actions.
Oh, can you not make any movement or actions? Like that's something we should probably discuss too, because like just going off Cyberpunk, you could still like move around and do shit. You're just like pretty much fucked.
Yeah. Maybe we say movement is halved? I don't want them to be able to make any actions. I think that once you hit 0, I
No
don't
offensive.
feel like actions.
You can't take any offensive actions. How about that?
Okay.
Like no directly offensive actions. So you could like still do something to save the party. Like lumber your way over to the furnace and kick in the like I don't know, kick in the jewels that the guy was trying to I don't know, start the machine with.
Throw the genie's lamp into the furnace.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So we're still giving space for heroic moments in a character death, which is cool, right? Like, we want characters to, like, if they die, like, maybe, like, leave the party with something rad and, like, have a rad story.
Right.
Oh, maybe that's it, Taylor. Maybe it's... Oh, okay. This is going in a different direction all of a sudden.
Okay.
Maybe when you reach death, you become a nerd, like, you are going to die as soon as that hits 0. That is the case. Unless you have, like, somebody who can use the Lazarus tap on you.
Right.
But you get, like, bonuses instead. Like, as, like, you know, like, a mother sees baby running, like, about to get run over, or child is trapped underneath.
Oh, it's
car.
like an adrenaline rush.
Yeah. Like,
Okay.
you can get all fucking jazzed.
You got that when you get that mom strength.
Yeah. You get mom strength in our game when you die.
Hell yeah,
Well,
love it.
Well, this way there are no, like, impotent deaths, right?
Right. Okay.
You always get something cool out of it, and maybe that's something we should write into the game. Like,
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So when a character is inert, they are going to die. In their final moments, they're able to. In their final moments, they are unable to take or half movement. Are we thinking? What do you think in terms of movement?
I don't even know if we should have the movement, right? Like, if we're gonna juice them.
Okay.
I don't know. This is my question, because like what I just proposed is a diametrically opposed
Well,
idea.
yeah, what you just proposed, like I could take on a bear and like
Yeah, I know.
I don't know, like
It's an interesting approach for sure.
So here's what I'm gonna say. In the sake of like, for the sake of balance, I feel like if you're gonna have that adrenaline rush, it has a timer, right? So if I get that mom strength, I've got it for 1 round, and then I'm dead. Then I'm done, right? I get
You get one last roll.
I get one more chance to do something kick-ass, and in that last roll, like I get a bonus whatever to that roll, right? That's one way of doing it. The other option is a slow decline.
Taylor,
What?
you get on your next. You get one more. You're like beat the fuck up. You get one last. Your next roll. The bonuses, however many petty coin you have on your persons.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, because it's magical, right?
Yeah,
it's a
it's
beauty
magic
attached to you.
So it's how many petty coin they personally have. That's the bonus they get on their roll.
Your next
So
roll.
if I have like 20 petty coin, then like,
Yeah, dog.
fuck. Okay.
And that money's rendered inert afterwards.
Right.
And that's why it's called going inert.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, baby, that's
Okay.
cool.
So they can burn their personal existing petty coin. Personal petty coin.
Ooh. Yeah, you just framed it even cooler as a choice. You're either dead right there.
Yeah.
You hit 0, you're dead right there, or you could burn your personal petty coin to make one last fucking ditch effort. And your next roll.
I like that a lot.
I love that. That's rad.
Okay. Final action.
Okay, so Pettycoin is our like monetary system, but the idea is that you can activate like any item feats, like magic items and stuff, are all activated with Pettycoin as well.
Yeah.
So if you're in a dungeon and you have like an axe of like great water bending, like you can't use that great water bending feat unless you pay money to do it. It's a microtransaction.
Well, it's a microtransaction, but it's not just a mechanical thing. It's actually in fiction. We decided, I don't actually know if we've talked about this on stream. I don't know if this has been an off-stream conversation, but like the idea is that Pettycoin itself is made of this substance that is imbued with like Star Shatter magical energy. And so, like, yes, you are technically buying, like, the use of these feats, but that's literally because in the fiction of the game, that currency, it's made of a material that allows those feats to happen. So when we say that a feat is worth, like, 2 Pettycoin, that's literally the amount of the material needed to conduct, like, this thing.
I've been thinking some designs for Pettycoin. Like a gear with teeth in the middle, and like,
Right.
Yeah, I've been having some neat ideas with that.
Yeah. Okay, so, sorry, for their final turn, they can burn their personal Pettycoin to make a final action. However many coins they wish to burn adds to the...
No, they have to, I don't think you can choose how many. You have to burn them all.
Okay.
It's all or nothing. It's basically, is my party going to take the Pettycoin that I have on me with them, which would be probably useful.
Right. Especially if you've got 20 Pettycoin, I'd be so mad. Like, that's
Son of a bitch.
That's so much money. Okay, so final action. If they do, the number of Pettycoin burned adds to the
the idea actually was like us. They were like, yeah, it's like cryptocurrency. We sound like crypto bros, and now it's kind of grown on us.
No, don't say that on stream. Stay tuned for our next stream where we auction off Vault Peddlers as an NFT.
Stop.
You started it, not me.
I'm auctioning you off as an NFT.
I'm just here. No one's gonna pay for that.
I put Taylor on the blockchain.
Put me there. I'll fucking break it out of spite. Okay, so if they do, number of Pettycoin burned adds to the total of their final roll.
Yep.
That Pettycoin is
rendered
now itself rendered inert.
I love that we came out to the same idea. Like I love that like being rendered inert is like that's a harsh world, huh?
Well, that's actually why I like it, is because that's the world we made. Like that was the whole intent. That was the point. So yeah.
What happened to Jimmy? Inert.
Fuck.
Damn.
Okay, so I think that's a good way of bringing everything down. I think we have a cool method of death, and I think that it allows for players to have cool last moments. Now, I think we need to talk about bringing somebody back from the brink, if can. So we need to talk about healing, right? Or is there anything else in health and dying that we need to, like specifically in the dying process, that we need to talk about?
So the only thing I can think of is like if you have if there is a feat or an item feat, or I guess just a feat, right? We'll just break down the language. If there is a feat that returns the player from 0 health nodes to an active amount of health nodes before they roll that last turn, before their next turn, basically, then yeah, you can save them. But I think it's got to be like before they roll that last move, right?
Okay. So like the Lazarus tap, for example, that can't bring somebody back from the dead. It's got to be done before their last roll.
Yeah, it's got to be like before they become inert, basically. Like, so here's the thing: if I decide that I'm going to do it, or no, I guess it wouldn't decide because I'd be like, I can get close enough to you in time in order to use the Lazarus tap, right? So don't decide to do it. But before the resolution of the next phase, basically.
Right.
Then they can come back to like, boy, this is actually kind of harsh.
Well, and here's the thing: it is, but that was the point. Like,
yeah, and it does have a cool...
Yeah, like we wanted a system that was going to be brutal, like to because that's the world that we're making. We want a system that, fuck, if I only have 4 health nodes, I want to avoid combat at all costs.
We have to talk about average damage too.
We do, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so, sorry. So for players with special healing feats, that can save a player from
before
death.
The resolution of their next phase. So you get like, it happened, right? Like you get your whole next phase to figure out how to save them.
Right. So prior to the end or the resolution phase
of their next resolution phase, yeah. So here's how I'm seeing this. Basically, like if you get killed, it's on enemy faction's turn, and then our turn starts. We have until the resolution of that phase to save you.
Right. Exactly.
If you get killed during our phase from a reaction, then we have the enemy's phase and our next phase to save you.
Yes.
Okay, cool. And then if there was a feat that extends that, sure, that's a cool feat we could probably write into the game.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
All right, cool.
Okay. So for players, actually, I'm going to bring this up here. So for players with special healing items or feats,
Starting to sweat.
there's Lazarus tap, the player save. Okay. Let's talk then about, I want to know, what are your thoughts on healing naturally? Like, I know we talked about this and how it really is not an option most of the time, but obviously
it does happen, right?
Well, yeah. See you later, El Dragoon. Thank you.
Bye, El Dragoon. Thank you for joining.
So yeah, I mean, here's the thing: if I break my arm or whatever, no, like an overnight fix is not possible. But you come again and see me in 6 months, and that arm will be healed, right? Like even in real life, healing does happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about this. There has to be like, there has to be an amount, right? Like, let's look at our.
There has to be an amount, and there has to be a time frame. I'm perfectly fine with avoiding the whole like regenerating health overnight. I don't think we need that. I think maybe like regenerating health over a week makes some sense. But I think even that wouldn't bring you back to full.
No, I mean, it's got to be like a certain amount to, how do we generate how many health nodes? The real question is, how do we generate the amount of health nodes you could conceivably get back?
Yeah.
And we'd also be, is there like a mechanic? Maybe you like roll for it? Like, I think Savage Worlds does that, where you like roll to get natural healing on a night's sleep. So maybe like in a downtime phase, you can roll for natural healing as well.
Okay.
which would make sense. We have the downtime phases, and then since those are like taking place between action in the game, it would make sense to tuck those in there as like a generalization of time.
Yeah.
So during the downtime phase, so that's our two questions, right? Does it happen automatically, or do you roll for it?
So I'm inclined to say that we should make this a thing that happens. I'm inclined to say it should happen automatically, because I think if we make it roll, we're naturally going to have to say, well, what do you roll? And then whatever we roll is suddenly going to become like one of the most important stats in the game.
I agree.
So I'm down with saying you just heal a certain amount. I kind of like it being implied off of your derived statistics somehow.
I have an idea.
Yeah.
You heal your caravan rank during the downtime phase. Just because, like, that's all the shit you got around you, right? You're pampered if you're a 5-star caravan. You're, like, get more tip-top.
Well, and I like it because it encourages you to move up the caravan ranks.
Yeah.
It's a good time frame, right? Because it's not, like, every day that happens. Fuck, Corey, I really like that. I think you nailed that.
I should be on cough medicine more often.
Yeah, right. What are you doing?
Here, drink this.
Healing does not come easy in the harsh world of Eba, although players can get special items or feats that lend themselves to the healing process. These are few and far in between. Natural players. Beings do heal naturally in Eba, as they do on Earth, but this is a slow process.
And it's all about the resources you got around you.
Process that hinges on your surrounding resources. So, for every downtime phase, players heal an amount of health nodes equal to their caravan rank.
So here's the thing. I think we need to take a week to write a bunch of NPC stat blocks and item feats. So I think next week, like I've had COVID. Let's just plan to do that next week.
Okay. Well, we'll do one more week before we hit playtest.
I think I actually had that written in my calendar, anyways.
Yeah.
But because there's a couple other things we need to contend with, Taylor. I've been thinking about criticals. I don't think my critical system's going to work. I'm trying to come up with something.
Okay.
But I don't know. It's frustrating.
That's fine. And honestly, I think that we have done enough for the evening anyways. I think that this is a good place to cut it, unless you have
I wanted to end on something lore heavy.
Oh, yeah, go for it.
Well, it's something we both designed last night.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I did an art, guys.
Taylor did an art.
I'm so sad Elstragoon has already left, because now they can't appreciate my beautiful
art.
My beautiful, beautiful child.
I'm going to change him a little bit, by the way.
Of course you are. It's horrendous. Yes, please.
His smile upsets me.
Good.
So Taylor drew me this picture, and I put it on my fridge, and No, Taylor drew me this picture for his idea for cattle in
Yeah.
Vault Peddlers. Because one thing we like, I mean, like, it's gotten lost in the fantasy a little bit, which we're trying to bring back out, especially with items and stuff. Like, Vault Peddlers is post-apocalypse, and it's like kind of a Rustpunk setting. Like, there's a bunch of like old antiquated equipment around and like cobbled together, making it work, sort of thing. And we want to like really sell that. So, and like another part of it is like there's this very big frontier trucker sort of thing going on with peddler groups, which comes through in some of the feats. And Taylor had come up with this idea for like cattle for Eba and for Vault Peddler crews. And I like the idea that like we could have feats that mechanize the cattle in certain ways, Taylor. But I like the idea that everyone's like, if you're a Vault Peddler crew, you got a pack of these things.
Well, I think what we said was if you're a well-off, like a well-to-do Vault Peddler crew, then,
I think like maybe if you start with one. I just love these little bastards.
So it's a car in every garage, but just one.
But anyways, let's
Don't mind all of this. This is not
Jim
important.
Dangle.
I just
Is this
wanna.
a conversation?
That's not Jim Dangle. How dare you?
Oh, whoa! I'm in a junior. Whoa! I'm in a weird place.
Where the fuck is my? Okay, no, we're still going up, going up, going up.
Everyone, read our conversations
My
as fast
God,
as you
we
can.
talk so much.
Yeah,
Okay,
we do.
here it is.
So this is Taylor's idea for Kevin. It is a worm with a beak.
It's actually, so here's the deal. I'm cool with running with it as a beak. It's actually supposed to be a big, like, protruding snout that goes, like, down into a... I'm not good at communicating that dimension.
I read it as a beak because it looks like it came to a point in the middle.
I read it as a beak because it looks like a beak, is what you're saying.
Well, so Taylor was like, these are cattle. And I was like, are they carnivorous? And he was like, why? And I was like, well, he didn't say why. But
He said why. No, I said why. And Corey was like, because it'd be fucking sick.
Yeah. Okay, I wasn't a lot of cough medicine last night. I didn't communicate the real reason. So the reason why I asked is because it has forward-facing eyes.
Right.
So it's a predator.
Not always.
Not always. Water-based aquatic animals don't, but most land-dwelling animals that have forward-facing eyes are predators.
Dragons also have sideways eyes.
Dragons aren't real.
That's not true.
Whoa.
You found out the red flag a couple of years too late. Oh shit, this guy really believes in dragons. He's really cool otherwise, but he fucking believes in dragons. I can't abide that.
Beyond that, I saw what I now know is a snout, but I thought was a beak. And I was like, well, birds are murderers. All birds are murderers.
All birds are cowards and murderers.
And then it's got this snake behind it. So I'm like, this thing can constrict. It can murder with a beak, and it has predator eyes. I saw this thing, and I was like, that's a monster. That is a killer.
Love it. Love it.
But I did use the justification because it would be fucking rad.
I mean, yeah, here's the thing. And I mean, like, this is, I said this to you privately. I'll say it to you now. Like, when I draw you shit and I'm like, here's an idea for something I came up with, you literally can do whatever you want with that. If you think that that's just like a dumb fucking idea and you don't want to include it, cool. That's fine.
No. But we love these sons of bitches. So
yeah,
we
no, I'm obsessed with these things now.
So the idea is that, like, there's, like, fucking, I just had this scene in my head of, like, late at night in the canyons, and they have, like, this rickety iron rot, like, fucking thing set around the encampment, and then you just hear these, like, you have to, like, there's, like, cans dangling, fucking, like, some bandits, some scavengers trying to sneak into the camp, and just the pharaoh just like opens up the gate, and this thing screams, and it runs out, or slides out rather at him.
Burrows out. I get a lot of Tremors vibes from these things too, for sure.
100%. That's
100%.
Yeah. It put me in a desert feeling.
Yeah.
So we were thinking, like, what other ways? Why would these be important? So, like, security for sure.
Yeah.
They're hairy, so I said we could shave them like sheep for textiles.
Textiles, which I think is such a neat idea. I hadn't thought of that at all. But like, yeah, I definitely, especially like in the hot weather, you see like some poor fucking shepherd going out with like a pair of like shear clippers, and everybody's like, "Oh, is it that day?" And he just kind of looks at you, sort of dead in the eyes.
Oh my god!
And he's like,
That
"Yeah."
makes the shepherd so much better now.
Oh, we could have fucking shrieker feats. I didn't
Yeah.
even think about that. Yeah.
Whoa, shepherd's
Hell
a
yeah.
pet class now.
I was about to say, shepherd's now the new favorite class. All the other
Shepherd's a-
responsibilities? Nah, fuck that.
You know, interestingly enough, we were having issues with like, we should revisit the shepherd as a pet class. Anyways, oh my god.
Yeah, sorry. But no, so yeah, this is...
Oh, and then Taylor's like, you could ride them.
Yeah.
And I was like, hell yeah.
It's
Hell
like,
yeah,
yes.
you could.
Yes, you could.
But yeah, I imagine caring for them would suck.
I think the thing that I did that, looking back on it, upsets me the most is I gave them these big, bushy eyebrows.
Yeah.
I don't... I really tried my damnedest to make this thing into like a Disney cartoon. But yeah, beautiful.
But yeah, so we wanted cows, and we ended up with like a cross between like junkyard dogs and sheep.
Yeah, so I don't know. I've had this just nagging feeling of like there's something about Iba that doesn't feel fleshed out, and like I realized I don't know what any of the wildlife on this planet looks like, and I don't want to just use Earth animals because I don't know.
Yeah.
Like in pretty much all of my favorite pieces of literature or media or whatever, like I don't know, there's the little things about the world are what makes it feel different and unique. Like a perfect example, and it's like I don't want to call it lazy, but
on
like
stream.
it's what?
I'm all right. I'm on stream though.
Oh. Like a perfect example of this is like Avatar, right? Their system for making wildlife was really straightforward. They just took a bunch of existing animals and literally slapped them together. So you have like turtle ducks, and like that's not necessarily. It's not the same as creating like a totally new animal or whatever, but it made that world feel so different and unique because of it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, no, I agree. I think we need to start diving into lore pretty heavily.
Yeah. Obviously, that'll probably, a lot of that's going to come after May. Like, we've got a deadline coming up that unfortunately doesn't allow a ton of room for lore. But no, this is going to be the kind of stuff that after we get the Alpha Quick Start done, this is going to be what I want to spend a lot of our summer and like fall on stream going into, for sure.
Yeah, this will be good. So, that being said, thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
I feel like I died.
I'm going to go let Corey die, and I'll be back next week. Maybe Corey will.
Bye.
Bye!